The NeuroDADverse podcast is produced by Squid Shack Studios.
Hey, I'm Ben.
And I'm Dan.
We're both fathers,
We're both married.
and we're both raising kids with diagnosed neurodiverse conditions.
Parenting is tough, and we're not saying it's harder for us, just different.
And sometimes that different can be hard to explain.
That's why we've created the NeuroDADverse, a weekly show where we share our wins, our challenges, and all the neurosparkly and neurospicy bits in between.
Our hope is to create a safe space for parents to share their own highs and lows of neurodiverse parenting. And just to remind you of three things.
You're doing great,
You are enough.
and you're definitely not alone.
So welcome to the NeuroDADverse. Hello, we're back in the NeuroDADverse. How are you this week, pal?
Tired. I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Okay.
Tired,
Okay,
but okay at the moment.
Well, if you want to stick around and find out why Dan's tired, we are going to be going through our week in 3 words. We will talk about our biggest challenges, our biggest wins, and we might get into some other topics, but then we'll look ahead to the week ahead and then give you some scores about our weekly bath time. It's the first one we are doing that's going to go out relatively close to our record. The record is not on our usual day of Sunday because we normally do it at about 5 o'clock. And I forgot that there was a big important England football match that I was watching. So we're doing this on a Monday morning, which is maybe why Dad's tired. I don't know. Should we dip into it, buddy? Do you want to do challenges or wins?
Are we doing 3 words first?
Oh, God, yeah, I just did the menu. And then immediately ignored the menu. Let's do 3 words, Dan. Your week in 3 words. Let's go.
Look, starters are always really important to me, okay? When I go out, I don't like skipping starters. Week in 3 words. I'm going to go with tired. Tired.
Can't use the
but
same word twice.
progress. Yeah, again, some more progress. And yeah, I'm just going to say tired twice. Yeah.
Okay, nice. I'm gonna go relax, boundaries, and triumph. Oh,
I think you should go first.
okay.
I think repeating a word implies mine's not going to be as dynamic as yours.
Do you need some more thinking time? Okay, so the biggest win, there's a few to choose from this week. Obviously, fortuitously, we are doing this Monday morning, so I can say that surely the biggest win is the England Euros win, retaining a trophy. It's ours, get your hands off it, as Mabel said. It was a really big, lovely win to experience. In fact, all of this tournament's been amazing to experience alongside Mabel. She's developed some interesting turns of phrases that she shouts at the television, which we are accepting as in-game shouts. That's good. But I don't think it was that. We had a lovely cinema trip, the 4 of us. That's like a comfortable, safe space for us all to go, given the neurodiversity that the kids experience. And that's fantastic.
Awesome.
But the biggest win probably was that we went to visit our friends and we went to another nearby town, and we went on a pride march, and that was particularly relevant for Oscar because they are identifying as non-binary, preferring the they them pronouns, comfortable with he him, but had made like their own non-binary flag fan. And
Nice.
initially that overwhelm of a lot of people, because we joined it from like they have an accessible route that isn't quite as hilly, and so we joined the march at that point, and Oscar was very, very like sheepish and nervous and hiding. But when they realized particularly that there was loads of kind of like gaming and computer anime cosplay, like was kind of like felt a little bit seen, and there was loads and loads of lovely photos of them like smiling and opening their fan and covering their fan and just having just a joyful walk up the town with people who were just clearly there going, this is who I am. And Mabel was there. They got far away from me as teenagers want to get far away from their parents, but not in a way that was uncomfortable. I was just looking ahead, going, "They've really got each other. That's nice." Yeah. So Mabel was there. Mabel was there. Sorry, in kind of like an allyship. They love taking photos together and stuff like that. So, and then we sat down at a bandstand, a bit of a picnic. It's just lovely, just like them existing in a space where they felt comfortable and safe and seen, particularly Oscar. And if you've been, this is the other episode, you've heard me fumble over the he or they pronoun. So doing my best with that one. Really open dialogue and communication, and it's a joy. It's just a joyful thing to have done. And that was on Saturday.
Amazing. That's amazing. Was the weather
So
good?
good. Yeah, it was nice weather for walking up a hill and then sitting around. It wasn't too warm. It was like overcast, coastal vibes. So yeah, good stuff. And then we went to a friend's house that we hadn't been to before, so unfamiliar, and it was really nice. Like the more you know, the better. I could just see Oscar's face a little bit quizzical when we got there. I was like, "Do you need to do a walk around, Oscar?" And Oscar just looked at me and went, "That would be helpful." So I spoke to our friend whose house it is, and they just did a walk around, and it was great. Yeah, lovely,
Oh,
lovely
that's
stuff.
amazing. That is a big
Yeah.
win. Awesome. So
Cool.
pleased. That's
Well,
amazing.
what about you? First week of school holidays. You said it was going to be challenging. You thought challenging last week, but let's go
Yeah.
with your win. Let's go with your win first.
So a couple of, I wouldn't say a big particular win, a couple of sort of smaller wins, sort of like you. So we went to we went to a barbecue on Saturday, um, and at the moment it's kind of 1 week's good, 1 week's not so good with us going out to go to social events. But this one, it went really well. We've been there a few years in a row. It's friends of mine from uni, their birthdays are like a week apart from each other, so they just do a combined thing, usually a barbecue at their
Oh,
house. So again, didn't want to leave the house until we wanted to walk there because it's not too far. Had to get a cab because he just didn't want to walk out the house. And then Seb spent all afternoon in the garden, like eating some of the food. They got loads of sausages because Frank likes sausages. They know he likes sausages. So he was sitting down and eating food with the family. Um, and a couple of our friends that were there, which was nice. He was just making himself comfortable with his iPad and eating. And then they also have it's really it's a bit of a weird one to describe. They also have like a Christmas elf that's about 4 foot something tall that they've dressed up as a train driver for the local train provider because one of them is a train driver. So his other half took his old uniform, dressed this thing up, and called it by his name. And Frankie just stares at it. The last few years, he's been looking at it like, why doesn't that person move? Because he thinks it's
I think
a
I'd
piece of.
stare at it.
So this year he actually walked straight up to
Oh,
it quite early on and
oh,
just
good.
pushed it over,
Uh-huh.
and kept getting other people, like interacting with other people. Come here, pick this up for me. So he would put his hat on again and then push it over. He found it hilarious. So
That
that was
sounds
nice.
great.
So yeah, that
Quite
was.
a lot, quite well, like big numbers attended, or we're talking.
No, it was probably we spent all our time in the garden. There was other kids there that also some of them do have neurodiverse uh, traits and conditions, and they spent more time inside. There was probably about 15 people
Okay.
at its peak because it was kind of a rolling all day event. We stayed for
Nice.
about 4 hours, I think. We left just at the perfect time because by the time he got home, he literally just walked in and flopped up the sofa, and I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
he's ready to go to bed." He didn't go to bed for a few hours yet, but he was tired. So that was a good win.
Nice.
And getting in the bath has been much easier this week. He's without iPads or anything else. I still haven't got the trains out to watch. I haven't needed them, but they're in the top
It's
pocket for
fine.
sure. So yeah, he's starting to sort of enjoy bath time again at the moment, which is nice.
Cool. Sounds like a great win. Just that bath thing alone's a little win.
Yes. Yeah. We'll take it. We'll
Cool.
take it.
Fantastic. So let's dig into it. Challenge wise, how's that more unstructured week been for you guys?
Yeah. So biggest challenge is no school. So he's only been off school since his first day of the holiday was last Wednesday, so only a half week. But unfortunately, we started. If it was a car, we basically just like stalled. Let's just put it that way. Um, Amy was off for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so we could all spend some time together and just help him slide into um, the summer holidays by basically having a 5 days off together because of the weekend as well.
Yeah.
But he just has not been sleeping good the last week and a bit now. His sleep's been a little bit off probably since June, and June was really busy. Birthday month is a lot, but he's been waking up at like 3 o'clock, between 3 and 3, pretty much every day now for about 6, 7 days in a row. Doesn't always go back to sleep. Sometimes goes back to sleep for half an hour or whatever. Um, so that was a bit tough. We woke up at like 8:30 on Wednesday. Go officially first day of the summer. Like we're both absolutely exhausted. Uh,
Yeah, of course.
it didn't help that I was doing a work thing. I didn't go to bed till 2:45 on Wednesday morning, and then he woke up at 3:30. So I was a bit like, but I didn't realize he was up at 3:30 until Amy. Basically, they both starfished out in our bed because he fell asleep with Amy in our bed. So I went in his room, and Amy came into me about 5 o'clock, just going, I just need to sleep. Can we switch? I was like, yeah, of course. I got up and then went downstairs with him and was just watching telly and whatever else and power napping whilst he's hugging me. But yeah, he's been doing that every day basically. So that's
You
just a bit
just
challenging.
you just get through.
Yeah,
Like
somehow.
as a tag team, right?
Yeah.
You just
So
go, I need this now. You accept it, you acknowledge it. Was your work thing, were you out or were you in?
no, I was basically just trying to fit everything in because it was the last night. I had the luxury of Amy being off for the first few days of the summer, so I was trying to get everything done for Tuesday. Obviously, was launching the pod, so I was doing
Yeah,
a
yeah.
bit of pod stuff as well. But I was trying to get some. I was trying to finish an edit, and I needed to get some
Okay.
sound notes. A client had given us some
So
stuff,
you were
so I
so you
stayed
were
up to
in
give it to the sound
oh,
editor,
sorry.
basically. That's all right. But basically, he was like, I can look at this tomorrow. And I'm like, well, the only time I'm going to have is like from midnight because I was out that
Yeah, yeah,
evening.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, then I
Yeah.
was up late then. So just compounded. And then we also decided he went to bed quite early for him the other night and we stayed up watching Yellowstone till the early hours of the morning. And then in hindsight, that was a bit of a mistake because literally a few hours later, he was awake and we're like, so yeah,
Yeah.
just very slow start mornings. Like by 10 o'clock, he's done almost his day. Um, so he gets tired, but then still doesn't go to sleep for hours. It takes a couple of hours to get him off. We then on off, sort of just
Yeah.
constantly power napping basically. So it's just been a bit of a long one.
Just getting through.
Yeah,
Just getting
and
through.
it's only week one, so we'll see what week two brings us because this is a full week this week. But yeah, so I'm just hoping that sorts it out. But I don't know, maybe it's just June sort of coming out. Like he's just been really busy. We've had something social on at least every Saturday for the last 6, 7 weeks. Maybe it's too
Yeah, yeah.
much. The other challenge is he's eaten a lot more because to help him regulate, which then, he was sick the other day because I think he just ate too much. Like from the party, we come back from the barbecue and he wasn't settling, and then basically he went into our room and was sick and was like, okay, it's probably because he was regulating to be around the
Yeah,
people with
yeah.
us. So yeah, I'm just kind of hoping he can have a couple of chilled days off with us at the start of this week. The end of the week we have more activities planned, and if he can just chill and just have a good sleep. We're very lucky he sleeps a lot. He does sleep well. Well, he either sleeps really well or he doesn't sleep all that well. But usually the phases are consistent. So if he's in a bad sleep phase, it's probably going to be like this for another week, and then
Yep.
hopefully he then comes out the other side of it. But
But again, that different sleep, whilst difficult for you and Ames,
yeah,
Frankie's regulated his body. He's gone to sleep. He's woken up. He's played. He's cuddled you. And within that, he's also been able to have some social experiences with you guys. So, like, as far as his experience is concerned,
it's a win.
there's no, yeah, no, like,
Yeah.
it's just you've got all these we've all got these expectations of what a summer should be like. And
Mm.
hey, it seems like you're managing it okay.
Yeah, I mean, I got lucky that I probably slept more. So I think
And
we
you
woke
were
up yesterday, so Saturday night into Sunday, I actually did sleep for, I think, 6, 7 hours, which was probably more than the 2 days before sort of combined. So I have been catching up sleep. He does wake Amy up before me. He always has done.
okay.
So Amy falls asleep earlier than I do by generally a few hours. So she'll be
Mhm.
up for a few hours before potentially she then comes to do the tag team. Because I've always said, just wake me up. I don't always necessarily wake up. Sometimes I can hear him walking around and I wake up. But if I'm tired and I've sort of passed out, you just got to kind of come in and, Dan, I'll be like, okay, I'm awake. So yeah, so she has been woken up first every night, and then we
Mm.
tag team where we can. But yeah, as people
You
know, that when you listen, sleep is the hardest thing just because it just impacts everything else. Like, I'm trying to do work today and you're just like, it's not optimal. And then
yeah.
it's just trying to squeeze in as much as you can in the
Balance
time you
though
have.
balance though is good because you have that like, you're a home worker, which
Yeah.
whilst it brings other challenges,
Mm.
it does kinda mean you can close laptop, crush out, you know.
You'd like to think so, wouldn't you? But yeah, no,
Well,
I know, no, I know what you mean. Some
you don't
mornings, if
have a
I am that
commute.
tired. Yeah, that's
You
it.
don't have a commute. So
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that means it's what a wonderland, but it does mean you've got a certain option available. Okay,
Yeah, no,
cool.
for sure, 100%. I am lucky. I work from home, so if I need to sleep, I can. It's just not optimal when I have a limited work schedule over the summer
100%.
to spend that sleeping. But obviously, sleeping is important. So yeah, that's mostly our
Cool,
challenges. What about you?
cool. Um, so we, finished Mabel also had her last day of school on Tuesday. So she went out with some friends, kind of to celebrate the end of the school year, and just to protect her a little bit, I'm going to phrase my challenge as teenager boundary exploration,
Okay.
which I don't deliberately want to be cryptic, but I do think in a public podcast, like as much as I've spoken to both the kids and been like, I'm going to be talking about how it's been to be a parent each week. Are you comfortable with that? And they're on board and they listen, which is interesting. um, so I just want to be respectful. And this was one thing that has literally been the biggest challenge. So I was saying I don't need to talk about it because it's been really tough. But basically, it was a boundary exploration, and it was one that we, Laura and I, really struggled to experience and discuss and talk about. And I'm really happy with where we are now. Like at the weekend, it wasn't nice, and we went round and round and round. But something that we kind of came back to was that talking and understanding the experience together with her was far better than than a kind of hard sanction
Hmm.
because, and I don't know if this is teen, I don't know if this is neurodiverse, but it certainly is our experience, right? Sh- She's so matter of fact about the thing, right? Which is all teenagers will do these types of things. You did these types of things. I have to experience it myself to know what it's like.
Hmm.
When you can consider that within a neurodiverse scenario, touch fire, hot fire, don't touch hot. You know, run in road, car scares me, don't run in road. And I'm not saying that that isn't the way that neurotypical people, but you see what I'm getting at. It's like I've experienced a thing, I no longer want to experience that, or I do want to experience it. Um, for example, auditory processing, right? Neurodiverse people will self-regulate, leaving an area at speed. We've both experienced that with both our kids, right? Because it's overwhelming. How are you going to know what these boundaries are? And also, with these teenage boundary exploration types of things, some people call them rites of passages, but equally, there isn't necessarily any hard and fast rules about having an experience. It's all social contracts.
Mm.
And one set of parents will say that's fine, the other set of parents will say that's not fine, and obviously there's other parents involved, there's other kids involved. So, her friends is what I mean. So it was probably the biggest kind of teenage boundary exploration challenge we've had, or certainly up there. Excuse me. So, and by no means am I suggesting that we are the oracle of what you should do with teens, but we went with a conversation about this, and we had some really open conversations. She was really super honest with us about what it was after initially being like, "That's not what happened," and then super quickly going, "Okay, it is, but let me tell you about it and let me tell you why." And
Amazing.
then she'd done no loads of those and we were just kind of like, "Okay." So she did all this conversation, we talked about it, we were like, "Okay, cool. So cool, we'll talk tomorrow, once we've discussed it." And she was respectful of that. And once we discussed it, we just told her how we felt about it, and that was it. So she was kinda half expecting, like, I think a hard consequence, but we know that it would really, I think, um, like, make those types of things more attractive maybe?
Mhm.
I don't know. But she knows where, like, what our expectations of her. We tried to, as best part, advocate for her to make the choices on her own terms, and always, to be honest, we talk about a lot in our family about the value, what our value tree is like. I've never called it a value tree, but I don't know how else to explain it. Like, top of our tree from above is like honesty. It's really super important, and we know it's super important to her because you've got this super strong sense of justice that is kind of coming out in all senses of ways,
Yep.
as does Oscar.
Mhm.
So we're like, cool. So that all tracks. Like, I think she'll feel it, that if she'll feel emboldened to be truthful because she values that. So it's all about conversation. Um, I was quite enjoying the summer Monday and Tuesday when I didn't have to have these kind of boundary setting conversations like I do at work in a professional context. It was all very much like, "Do you want an ice cream? Let's go for a walk. I've booked the cinema for this day. Oh, now have free time to clear the shed out," which is very boring, but quite nice to do
Mhm. Life
because
admin.
it's a job. Yeah, 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 yeah. Uh, so yeah, first day, that was the first day of the summer holidays. Um,
Oh, so we both had baptism of fire on our
yeah,
first day. Yeah, fair.
yeah,
Thank you, children. We love you.
yeah, but equally, I also we like, this is why this podcast is wonderful, because I joked with Laura, it's like, "Well, I think I know what my challenge is this week," and she giggled, and I went, "I wonder if I'm gonna get a win." And actually, looking at my little sheet in front of me, like, I got 3 big wins and that 1 big challenge. What's been super important is that on 2 occasions, today and yesterday, Mabel started to kind of, rather than go, "I just arranged to go and meet my friend in town. What time should I come back?" She started to go, "Can I go out?" And we're like, "You don't normally ask. You normally, like, tell us what your plans are, and we see if they fit around." So I think that within her, we're like, "Yeah, it's fine." Um, and we haven't been like finger waggy. Well, I haven't found us being finger waggy. Maybe we should get her on next week and see how she feels about it. But I don't think we've been really like, in response to that difficult boundary exploration. I don't think we've been super like, "And you mustn't do this." It's been very simple. Like, what are you going to go do?
Mm, mm.
Cool. Who are you hanging out with? Not just, we've kept it as normal as possible. Um, yeah, I kind of cut it there because otherwise I could go on and on and on. But it didn't feel good in the moment. But having had given her the same freedoms we normally do and not coming down on her like a ton of bricks, just feels respectful. I think she feels that too. So, but challenging because everything about us wanted to be like, well, this punishment is going to hit you hard so you don't do this again.
Mm.
But it's counterintuitive. That's what we're finding. I have to do the opposite of what we would normally think, but that takes a lot of processing time to talk about. Um, so yeah, big old teen challenge.
Well, I have all this to look forward to, I suppose. But no, thank you so much for sharing that because um, I just nodded like the old Churchill dog advert. I was like, no, I think that's probably a similar sort of way that knowing how Frankie is at the moment, obviously his development is changing all the time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't necessarily feel the best way sometimes to convey an emotion at our children is shouting because it doesn't really get
Oh,
you. Because yeah, well, Frankie would just snap out of like if he's doing something and he hears a loud noise, it just breaks from his current reality. So he probably isn't going to listen to anything after the shout. If we did shout, we occasionally shout just to get his attention, like Frank, you can't do that.
yeah.
Come on. But yeah, I think what's really nice to hear about that is she's listened, she's took something in, she's had her emotional response to that because she assumed obviously the worst. Worse hasn't happened, and now she's trying to be pre-diplomatic because she's assuming that there's maybe like a
I
gotcha
mean,
sort of punishment further down the line, and it's just not come. So
well,
it's
yeah,
probably you've probably got a lot more respect by the sound of it by playing it cool,
yeah.
although it sounded really
I
hard to be cool.
Yeah, well, we've talked a bit before about when we are calm. I mean, we as parents, the whole generalization. When we are calm, you can get you can get things sorted, you can get things done, and you can certainly have communications. Yeah, I'm a big believer in like I use my voice in a classroom to teach. And I use my voice in a classroom to manage behavior. Why am I adding more emotion by shouting? Now, clearly, there are moments if someone is throwing a thing or there is an altercation, I can use my voice to get attention and stop that. I shouldn't just be shouting
Mm.
at the kids to stop shouting. It just seems like a cycle, but that's a very personal teaching thing that I do. But yeah, yeah, super challenging.
Can I ask
Do you?
a quick question?
Yeah.
Um, do you do you feel your profession impacts on your parental style or vice versa? Does that make sense? I'm like in my head.
Well,
I
as
don't
a
know if that's
teacher,
articulate
yeah,
because
no, no,
obviously
no, it's fine.
as a teacher, you receive training to deal with an array of situations, and obviously
Mm,
when you know context of
yeah, yeah, I
individuals,
get
you
it.
know the whole shouting thing's not going to work. So, do you think that because you have neurodivergent kids, it helps your teaching or hit or and vice
Um,
versa?
I was a teacher before I was a parent,
Yeah.
so I reckon I giggled when you asked the question because um, we said when we had kids, I was like, it's going to be really boring for me to kind of take charge of the parental stuff to do with school, Laura, because oh, I know school and it can get frustrating. And you're going to be really, because she's a nurse, you're going to be really bored to be doing all the medical stuff. So why don't we flip those roles and I'll be in charge of the medical stuff and then you can be in charge of the school stuff. As
Nice.
those wheels turned after maybe like 1 year of that, we quickly realized I'm really experienced in teaching. You're really experienced in nursing. Why do we have this weird system? Um, but I would say I knew a lot of all of this was coming. And I say all of this, I don't mean that all the like a negative thing. I knew all of this kind of being in a secondary school was coming. I knew nothing about primaries. So I was kind of like, when she gets to secondary, I'll know all the systems. And I do know all the systems and I do know all the support networks and I do know this happens. So when, for example, where she was in the first she was in the first year of secondary and she said, "Oh, this all happened at school today." Laura was like, Well, what? That doesn't make sense." And I was like, "No, no, it does, because this is how the systems work." So I think I bring a lot to our joint parenting table because I've worked for nearly 20 years with teenagers every single day. Um, so when I see my kids emotionally deregulated, kind of know, first of all, I'd like to think I don't get as deregulated as much as I used to now that she's a teen. So, like, if I would very quickly be like, "Oh, for God's sake, we've got to sort it out, calm down with her." Now I'm much more like, "Oh, this looks like at school. I remember you had that really challenging kid who couldn't regulate. Remember how you created a safe space? It was calm, and you were
Mm.
calm." So yeah, I think it informs it, um, whether it works well. Maybe we get Laura on in a couple of weeks and she can tell you. Um, but yeah, good question. I don't know. Maybe there are some other teachers out there who say that they do it in they manage completely different ways.
Mm.
Um,
Well, no, thank you for being
certainly,
honest and answering the question.
yeah. It's I find it quite. I'm trying to avoid the word easy, but I find that I slip into a particular lane with some neurodiverse kids who might be deregulated, maybe in a corridor, or maybe they're or at lunchtime and they seem to be stimming in a certain way. I feel like me, I don't have a issue approaching them and speaking in a particular way and breaking down my language and those sort of things, even if I don't know the kids' needs.
Mm.
So yeah, more professionals should work with some neurodiverse kids, really.
Mm.
Because it's just the experience. And when you find something that's worked for one, commonly from a teaching perspective, it can work for all kids. And that's like, you know, I use when then all the time for all of my classes, for example. But
Ah.
yes, we're not, I'm not at work, Dan. I've got time off. Why are we
Yeah,
talking
no,
about my
sorry.
workaway?
No, sorry.
It's
Oh
fine.
no, but then
It's
straight
a
away
parent podcast.
my brain then wanted to go. And how do the kids deal with you saying when then? Because yeah, is it just part of the culture of your class now? They're like they just love that signposting, or
There is a lot of culture in my class where I say things and I repeat. They all walk into music playing, and then when the music stops, they should be quiet. It's all sensory themed. Um,
oh, we
yeah.
should talk about that one day. Maybe in
Yes.
September whenever. Yeah, I must
I
respect
don't wanna
you're allowed to chill out.
It's fine. Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. It's just because I do it so much, I could go on forever, and I really don't want to, because I really want to look ahead to the week ahead before we do some bath time scores. Got a question or want to share a story? Drop us a message on Instagram or email us at NeuroDADverse@gmail.com. Look after yourselves. Anything in the calendar for you that is potentially a win or potentially a challenge?
Um, so chilled the start of the week today. Nanny and Grandad are here, so they're downstairs chilling. Tomorrow, I haven't actually made any plans yet. I just wanted to see how today goes, see how he's vibing. But Wednesday he's on at a club all day, so I'll be working.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's been given pretty much 4 of the 5 Wednesdays in the summer. He gets to go to this club, which is good because Wednesday's always typically been my work day because Amy usually has that off. Amy's working
Familiar
a lot of
club?
the summer.
Is it a familiar club?
Yes, yeah. It's a local sort of
Is it your gym?
respite slash. No, it's a respite slash special needs children sort of
Cool.
facility. They're great. I
Nice.
do some stuff with them. I filmed their panto
Oh,
a couple of
that's that
weeks
place.
ago.
Oh, okay, cool.
He gets access to that through um
Okay.
for some of his stuff. And then Thursday is Playdate day. I think we're
Cool.
hosting people here. And then Friday, I'm taking him to an Air Extreme, which is like a huge inflatable. It's like 4 or 5 bouncy castles
All right.
sewn together. And it's kind of like
Nice.
gladiator themed, like you got a Biff
Oh,
Bath. You've got
when's that? Can I come?
yeah, every Friday and Saturday. You can come down. I'll send you the link.
Nice.
So yeah, starting
Cool.
off chilled, and then we're trying to repeat that process most weeks. You?
Well, I just looked because I always forget. Mabel has her football training commences tomorrow evening. So that's great. And then her first preseason friendly is on Sunday. So that should be good, although it's not within the week. So it's not within the school week, and training's in the evening on a Sunday. So she might decide to go and do a daytime thing, which might sap her energy, or
Mhm.
she might go to the beach. She might go, well, I don't really want to vibe it yet. I don't want to go because it's still summer holidays. I don't know. That would be odd, but you might do. We have a Oscar's friend from their school meet up for a walk and an ice cream. That's a parent that I reached out to as part of the parent group, and they got back in touch. There's all that additional kind of layering of like what's comfortable for your child, what's comfortable. So it was nice. The message was they messaged back and said, "Oh, thank you for being so kind of respectful," because Oscar wanted them to come here to play computer games, and I was like, "Here's the setup here," and because they were like, "I'm not really sure about the animals. Let's do dogs. Can we do this? This is about where we can go." So yeah, so we'll do that. See how that goes. Be really nice to see Oscar have a friend outside of school because we don't do much. So
Awesome.
yeah, and then I'm going to visit friends Friday, Saturday. So they, I think, going for a sleepover at my mum's, or she'll come to us because Laura's working those days. So I don't know. We'll see. Right, cool. It's for the first time a bath time scores week where I actually can remember the bath time because we're doing it Mondays lunchtime or midday. I had a decent bath time. I think if England could win a international football championship before every bath, I think I'd be the most chilled out. It did take us 2 hours, so we were off to bed about 11 o'clock because we did a lot of when then. They were independently doing everything, but they spent a lot of time in there, and they then struggled to regulate their temperature when they came out. So, and it's getting a bit difficult to communicate when I ask about a particular part of their body that they've washed, and they're getting a bit cringe, but they're kind of cringing when I ask, but it's uncomfortable because I'm trying to advocate for them to look after themselves. And like we've discussed before, quite openly, like we do one bath a week. That's what we can manage. Oh, not us, like what Oscar, what they can manage. That's going to be challenged because they're going to have some more things that's going to make them more kind of, or go to the beach, for example. So yeah, yeah, it's pretty high up, but depends on the criteria. I don't think it was quite as thorough as it perhaps should have been, but yeah, somewhere like an 8, I think.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I was
Was
expecting
7.5 of that the England result? Just because that's what you remember is the England result.
Yeah. It was the result. The bath time result was a win on penalties. Still, you still take it. What about you? How was the bath time? The Sunday bath time, or whatever.
Yeah, no, it happened. So yeah, it has been a bit of a challenge, as I said, some previous conversations. The last couple of days, you just can't have it all. So bath is on the ascend, but sleep is on the descend. So I don't know if they're correlated, but yeah, he's we were having to like use the iPad to get him to be interested enough to stay. Like would be like he gets undressed. He's quite happy to let us undress him, and he stands there. And he might just dip a toe in, and he just goes nah. And then we'll be like, come on. And eventually something might happen, or we just wash him standing up on towels in the bathroom. But yeah, the last couple of days he has actually been quite happy off his own thing. He gets undressed, he goes in, he sits in the bath, at least for a little while, lets us wash him. I didn't use the iPad probably the back end of last week, but last night we did just because he was really tired. And we knew that this would help chill him out, so I did play the iPad for him
Okay.
while we watched him. But yeah, so I'd probably go with like 7. It wasn't
Yeah.
like the
Fair.
longest, it wasn't the best, but it's trending the right way. So and
Yeah.
I'll take that every day of the week. But it's just been a really good thing that I haven't needed the iPads because we were getting to the point where he would only get in the bath if we had an iPad to watch. So, but my little man just vibes different things every day. So
Yeah, of course. And that consistency will, and like I said to you before, you guys are finding a way to communicate, so they will communicate, and behavior is communication.
Yeah.
So
So we're trying to keep the routine the same as we do. So usually every school night we try. Doesn't always happen, but we try. Saturdays, depending on what we've done, we might be like, it's the weekend, you can kind of chill. And then Sundays, we do usually try to get us all ready for school. So we do try sort of every day, but it doesn't always happen. And it is the way it is. But at the moment, it's been it's a quicker experience, therefore a slightly more enjoyable experience because he's getting stuff done. But yeah, it's just every day's different, isn't it? So
boring if it wasn't though, eh, pal? Boring if
yes.
it wasn't. It brings us
Yeah.
much. It brings us
What
much
would I do
joy.
with those extra hours?
Yes. Find something else that was a challenge is all. So we'll just fill it with joy that it's up and down and they're going to keep you on your toes. All right, cool. I think that's kind of almost us done. But before we go, it's our first weekly record to bounce. Thank you so much to those of you who have watched or listened or shared and kind of got in touch about this. It's really nice. I did say it would be a podcast anyway, to Dan a few times chatting about this because it's just been helpful for me, and I know you kind of feel that too. So if you are listening, and it's nice to hear us share the wins and challenges and chat around the topic of neurodiversity. We've said for a long time we're not experts in this field, but we have experiences each week, and we really, really thank and respect you guys for getting involved. And if you want to get more involved, then send us a message. Ask for us to chat about particularly something, or kind of any of this resonates with you, please do find us on our Instagram and our TikTok or Facebook, or email us. It's all on the socials. So Dan, I'll see you next week on a Sunday, when we can dip back into the NeuroDADverse.
Okay, mate. I look forward to chatting to you on Sunday. I hope you have a good weekend. Everyone who's listening, let's try and win the summer.
Yes. Already won the Euros, so why not?
Just
Bye.
teed it up, knocked it out of the park. Have a good week.
You too,
See you
pal.
later.
That's about it for the NeuroDADverse. We'll be back next week.
If you laughed, cried, or nodded in tired agreement, don't forget to follow us and leave a review. It helps more parents find us.
Just remember, you're doing great.
You are enough, and you are definitely not alone.
Got a question or want to share a story? Drop us a message on Instagram or email us at neurodadverse@gmail.com. Look after yourselves.